All right. Coming back once again. Hope everybody's still doing well. As you can see the title up there, he's a sellout, or she is a sellout, because she grew up in the ghetto, or he grew up in the ghetto or the projects, and now that he have made it, he have forgotten about everybody else, or she have forgotten about everybody else. She ain't nothing but a sellout of Uncle Tom. You know, it's so much arguments behind this right here because I see people talking about this all the time. And big shout out to you, Kareem, and your comment. You want to know my input on this? Just JT little 2 cents. One thing about growing up in the hood, and if you grew up in the hood, then you can feel me in this video. The black community, the projects, or the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, growing up struggling. What's sad is that when you are in the hood, most people don't even think about you then because so many people are out trying to get their own on the corners. But not everybody in the black community is bad and selling dope. But see, this video gonna hit home for a lot of people because this is a touchy subject. But you know, on this page, we can talk about it. And it's always somebody that's gonna tell you, don't forget about me when you make it. And we know the old crabs in the bucket syndrome. Not even gonna go off into that, but we all familiar with that term. But I like to say this: just because somebody leaves the ghetto, the projects to better themselves, don't make them a sellout. Don't make them a sellout in no kind of way, especially if you grew up rough, and all you had was hard times, and you lived a life like mine where you saw a whole lot of violence and killing and shooting and drugs and rape and prostitution, you name it. And you got children. Why in the hell would you want your children to grow up in that? So your job is for your kids to have a better life than you did. You don't want your kids to experience what you went through in the quote unquote hood. So your job is to make a better living for them. So you move out of the hood, but now you a sellout. And what's sad, if you would have stayed in the hood, you know what was going to happen? Somebody in the hood was going to rob you. Because what's crazy about in the hood, you got folks robbing each other that stay next door to each other. And they hardly got two things in there, but robbing each other. This black on black crime is worse than it ever has been before. You think I'm lying? Look at the news. Look at how many people are robbing each other. And I'm not just saying this to say it's just black folks. No, trust me, let me say this the right way. Because when it comes to crime, it don't have no color. But just because you have moved out of the ghetto, you are not a sellout. See, what I look at what's going on right now and what has been going on. I look at what the black community do. Let me get a little deep. I look at what churches don't do for the community and how so many churches sit around and just beg for money and they won't help the community. Who would want to keep raising, like I say, who would want to bring their children up in that? You know, growing up, I always made a couple of people mad because everybody always told me out of the hood, JT, you're going to be the big time producer. You're going to be the one that make it. Don't forget about us. Come back and get us. Now, let me fast forward to right now. And K-Ray, I know you feel me. Pretty much everybody that said that is dead and locked up. Say if I would have made it big time and I was going to come back to get them, they ain't even around to be got. They gone because they lifestyle. See, you oftentimes hear me on here say that it's not about where you came from. It's about where you're going. See, most people I know want to stay poor. They want to keep moping around and crying and living paycheck to paycheck and think there is no better way. But see, I always tell people, if you want to learn how to make some money, get around some folks that's making money. If you want to learn how to be poor, stay around poor folks, because most people that act like that, but not everybody acts like that. But most of them people that do that, 9 times out of 10, they gonna stay where they at because they don't see that they can do better. They done got content. And see, I'm the type of man that want to keep moving forward. I'm not here to say that I'm gonna live where I'm at right now for the rest of my life. I don't know. But if I was to leave this hood next week, it shouldn't be nobody say nothing bad about me. And I will never forget where I came from. Because in order to know where I'm going, I'd like to look at where I came from. That's why I say it's not about how I growed up, what part of the neighborhood I was in, but it's about where I'm going. And most hoods are just straight thugged out. Dope dealing, pimping, prostitution, you name it. That's what's going on. And what kind of life is that to live? So why is a person, male or female, a sellout because they went to college, they got degrees, and you mad because you didn't go to school? Well, figure out what you need to do to get to where you need to get. But why is that person a sellout? Because, oh, they forgot about the hood. Let me say something in this video also. You cannot help nobody that don't want to help themselves. You can't help nobody that don't want to help themselves. I'm only speaking on this because I grew up in the hood and I know how it is, man. I know how it is, the struggle. Trust me, I know how it is. I know how it is to have a little money in my pocket and not to have no money at all. And I know who got your back. I always tell y'all, when my times got hard and when I lost my house and got laid off vehicles and everything, it wasn't two people that extended out their hand and said, JT, let me help you out. This is why I give like I give from my heart. Because I look at people, I don't look down on them because I know where they're coming from. I don't look down on that homeless man on that block. I don't look down on that man I see sleeping in between the houses right beside the church when the church closed their door on him and won't even offer him a warm meal. That's another reason why I love to go around and deliver those groceries to people who don't have no food, people who are struggling. I'm doing what I can right now. And if I had a whole lot of money, it's a whole lot of people in my neighborhood I would help. And then it's a whole lot of them I wouldn't help. Because you know why? All they would do is go blow it. But there are some people sitting in these communities, these black communities that are struggling and they need help. This is why I get pissed off at these churches. They too busy focusing on taking up money, but they are not helping the poor and the needy. That's why Jesus told us. And as I was telling Twin earlier, because when I was cooking last night, I wasn't cooking just for me. I was cooking for folks that don't have nothing. And 3 people came over here and ate. They didn't have nothing to eat. The Bible teaches you to invite in somebody that need a meal, not a family member. See, we can cook for family all the time, but I'm talking about that brother you know that's on the corner that needs something to eat. Or that sister that's been laid off from work who lost her husband and struggling with those kids. Can you go by there and say, sister, here goes some groceries? This is what most churches are not doing. It's sad. So when somebody leaves the hood, why are they considered a sellout? You know what you sell out? Your integrity. See, integrity is a big thing. What do you believe in? Most people sell their souls to the devil. But how can somebody be a sellout when they left a bad era to better themselves? And you mad because you still in the same situation, stuck in the same location because you don't want to move forward. I can't count on my fingers how many times I have heard somebody calling a brother a sellout because he went to college, or calling a sister a sellout because she got a degree in making money and she wanted to get out of the terrible neighborhood when pretty much she have lost a family member. How many folks' family members have been killed in the black community? See, there's a lot of murder go on in the black community. It's a lot of drugs. It's a lot of dirt. It's a lot of snitching go on. And if you got a chance, I'm going to be blunt when I say this. If you got a chance to get the hell out of a terrible neighborhood and better yourself, get out of it. Better yourself. Take your children and Lord, the Lord bless you to have a better life with your children. To not see that person that's strung out on the dope. See, when I grew up, I saw people sticking needles in their arm. I picked up crack bags in the field. I picked up needles in the field. I saw the crackheads falling out because they was too high. I see the drunk man. I seen people selling dope to their own mama. This whole neighborhood was flooded with dope. Drugs everywhere. I seen the shootouts, the gangbang, the drive-bys. I lived it. I lived in this life. But God got me still here for a reason. And you know what I'm doing? Outreaching. Though you got hard-headed folks that don't want to change, but you got people. The reason I rejoice so much because I have counted at least 10 people now that have made it from the hood. That ain't a gangster no more. They ain't a prostitute no more. They ain't living a thug life no more. They living for Christ now. They living for the Lord, and they are bettering themselves, and you don't see them in the hood no more. You know why? Because if you ain't careful, if you go around the same stuff that got you in trouble, if you keep hanging around it long enough, you'll find yourself right back in trouble hanging around those same friends. This is why you got to separate yourself. So are you a sellout? In my case, if you leave the hood, no. Now, it's two ways you can look at it. That's why I say it's each to their own, but the question was brought to me because of a man or a woman leave their neighborhood, the ghetto, the projects to better themselves. And since they got better, they moved on and got them a big house and moved to the, let's say, suburbs. They're a sellout? Nah. They're a hero. They got my respect. Because I know a couple of people that stayed in the hood when they made it. You know what they did? Robbed them blind. Robbed them for everything that they have. And they gave back to the community. The community robbed them. The people in the community, let me say it like that, robbed them, stole from them. You got people stealing like it ain't nothing nowadays. So you are not a sellout to me. You have bettered yourself. That's why I say to me, you're like a hero. Because most people I'm going to get for real with our race. Most ignorant black folks are going to sit up and say that person is a sellout because they got up out of the hood. Mind me of that movie D.C. Carey did with next Friday, I believe, when D.C. Carey was playing Craig Uncle, which was Ice Cube. He won the lotto, and he got up out of the hood and bought the biggest house on the block that he can buy. And he said, I said I wasn't going to never leave, but he said, but when I got my money, I got out. He moved to Rancho Chocamonca. And people would have said, he'll sell out. Let me say this in this video too, people. What's wrong with bettering yourself? What's wrong with prosperity, the real prosperity? What's wrong with being prosperous? Some people that have been broken post so long, they think that's how they're supposed to be the rest of their life. I'm here to tell you in this video, I don't look at life like that. If God bless me, Lord bless me. Bless me indeed. Enlarge my territory. Bless me to the highest. If you bless me to get up out of the hood, get me up out of here. Let me have a house that I've never had before. Let me drive a new car, because I ain't never owned a new car before. Even though I never owned nothing in this life. Everything I got belonged to God. But I don't know how it feel to have a new car. I don't know how it feel to buy suits and gators all the time. I bet you I would buy myself something nice because I have put in the work. And you have too. So there is nothing wrong with bettering yourself. You are not a sellout. And just because you went from wearing raggedy clothes and no shoes at all to being in nice suits now, you a sellout. Somebody gonna always say, I remember when that nigga didn't have nothing. Just excuse my language, but that's the way I want to say it. I remember when that nigga didn't have nothing. Or she didn't have nothing back then. Well, why you hating on them now? Because they blessed. But now let's flip it on the other side. You got a lot of people that just sell out their soul to the devil. Some people will do anything to get rich, but I'm not talking about that in this video. I'm talking about being prosperous the right way, getting an education, going to school, bettering yourself. To better yourself, excuse me. Nothing wrong with that. Moving from trouble. Most people didn't make it out of the hood because they got killed. But there are a lot of celebrities and big-time football players and basketball players. There's people that have made it from the hood. And I'm talking about any color. White, black, Hispanic, it don't matter. Black is not the only people that's poor, people. And everybody black ain't poor. Like I say, most people just ain't learned how to be good stewards. They got money, they just blow it. So when it comes to moving out of the ghetto and being successful, to me, that's not being a sellout. That's being prosperous. Bettering yourself. To better yourself. I done made up a word, bettering. But to better yourself. To live a better life, people. And what's sad, it don't matter where you go, where you move, crime is always there. Unless you can move into a restricted area. There's just no way around it. And with that being said, be blessed.